Welcome to the Portal Podcast on In Tune by Britt, your gateway to energy, abundance, and next level freedom. I'm Britt, and here we merge spiritual alignment with practical systems so you can expand your impact, your intuition, and your income. So take a deep breath, tune in, and let's step through the portal together. Welcome back to the Portal Podcast and this brand new series, The Future You Portal. This is my Lightworker creator series, and it is stepping into a portal of your future self. So this is going to be a series of episodes designed to really help you to quantum leap and step into your new identity, your new timelines, and really connect to that person and that highest timeline and version of yourself. So I'm going to be going through each different step and key areas and factors that continue to help me to step into the next version of myself. And I'm really excited as I was thinking about what series I wanted to do and what topics I wanted to cover as I'm coming back in season 3 of this podcast. I was really thinking about how I can have the biggest impact. And when I thought about it, it really came down to inspiring others to be more creative, to tap into that creative force within them, and really step into the future version of themselves that has more light, more abundance, more joy, more happiness. And that always comes back to being a creator of your own life and what that looks like for you to design your life in a way that continues to expand. So this series is really for the woman who knows she's meant for more. So it's all about more creativity, more expression, more impact, more purpose, feeling deeper and just feeling more alive. And it's not in this hustle or burnout way or in a way where you're trying to prove your worth, but it's really in a way of remembering your soul, coming back home to your truth, connecting deeper to what your truth is, what authenticity means to you, and really why your soul is here on the planet. So it's these questions that you might ask yourself or think of, but I wanted to give you a roadmap, really a transformation pathway for you to not only conceptualize it or think about these concepts, but actually have a path for manifesting it in your life. So I have my notes. I'm going to be doing some teaching and I'm going to give you a takeaway after each episode, and then each one will build on the next. So stay tuned, mark your calendars, subscribe, save, make sure that you can come back to this and that you get the notifications for these episodes, and definitely comment below. Let me know any questions and I'll be answering them. All right. So in this episode, I really want to drive home the fact that you are not just a consumer, you are a creator. And we live in such a consumer society, and really living in the matrix is a lot of programming around just consuming. Even the algorithm on social media tags people, consumers, or creators. And what that's really doing is it's showing the algorithm if you're somebody that can be sold to and what content you are looking at. So if you're watching stuff like this about being a creator and creating, then you're going to get served up more content about being on the creator side of things when you look at social media. If you're more consuming and buying outfits and clicking and purchasing everything that you see, then you're more of a consumer, and the ads are going to be serving up consumer ads all day to you. And when you think of the energetics of that, because the algorithm really is just a representation of the energy and life, it is a representation of how much energy you're putting into those two buckets. So I want you to take a deep breath, just arrive here together for this series, for this episode. Maybe take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth, and just connect to yourself and just feel into how much of your energy goes towards creating and how much of your energy goes towards consuming. of course, we are all creators and we are all consumers in different ways. But what I really want to inspire you is to see, where are you being called to create more and possibly consume less? And when we look at it from a spiritual perspective, we were created, source creation energy created us. We were created, whatever you want to call that. God, force, universal intelligence, the universe, whatever you want to call it, we were created. We came from creation. Every single human living here was created. And so the spiritual perspective is that creation is not optional. It's why we are here, that we were created to create. And that is the sole purpose of the creation, is to then create more. And so, yes, procreate, but also like, what does procreate and what does creation mean for you? And we all have a unique imprint, a unique voice, unique perspective and opinions and experiences and wisdom, and really looking and finding how you're wanting to create and how you're wanting to continue to evolve the way in which you're creating. So if you're watching this, you've probably had a lot of different spiritual awakenings or things that wake you up, sometimes more challenging, sometimes more blissful. But there are these experiences that tend to show us what our next level of creation looks like. And sometimes it can look like contrast. So maybe you've been seeing things that you don't want to create, or ways in which you've been creating that don't feel aligned anymore. And that contrast can really help us to show us what our next desire is. So when we're looking at what is the future you creating, what is this new portal that you're stepping into, you can look at the contrast of what you've been shown and what your experiences have been recently that are showing you what you like to create, what you don't like to create, and what feels really exciting to create more of, or, in bigger and bigger ways. And oftentimes moving into more creation means moving out of survival mode or out of a lot of like stress and tension. And it is a growth journey. Tony Robbins talks a lot about that the deepest fulfillment in life comes from two main things, and that's contribution and growth. So when we look at that, it's, a lot of us have been healing a lot, doing deep healing, processing a lot. And like I said, been in different levels of stress and survival. And so really stepping into more growth, more contribution means a shift. So sometimes that can feel really uncomfortable. And if you've never posted on social media before consistently, or you've never created an online course or an offer, or you've never written a book or spoke on stage or taught a class or hosted a client session, it will be really uncomfortable, really unfamiliar. It will take you stepping into a next version of yourself to really feel more and more comfortable. And it's really about practicing that and getting in the energy of it and understanding that you will go through that awkward phase and it will be on the edge of your comfort zone. But as you do it more and more, it will be the next level of you, the next version of you. And you will continue to get more and more comfortable in that version until you're then called to the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay, so one of the traps that I see a lot of light workers fall into is just being in this constant state of learning. And it's what I call consumer consciousness. So when I asked you to think about what percentage of your energy is creator, what percentage of your energy is consumer, you want to really look at, is it 50% consumer? Is it, 40%, 60%, wherever you're at? What I am always looking for is I want to be increasing my percentage of being a creator. And I want to be more of a creator than a consumer, because the trap that a lot of light workers fall into is this consumer consciousness. And typically it can be very unconscious or subconscious, and you do it without even knowing it. And that's really what the Matrix and society is designed to do. It's designed to distract you and make you a consumer without you even really realizing that you're consuming a lot more than you're creating. So what does this look like? It looks like always learning, always healing, always clearing, always preparing, waiting, getting into this perfectionism of needing something to feel exactly polished, exactly perfect before you start or before you step into the future version of you. So sometimes this can look at staying at your current comfort level or comfort levels that you had in the past for longer than you need to. Waiting to be ready, waiting to feel confident enough or safe enough or chosen, or waiting for, people to come to you all the time. But just knowing that your soul didn't come here just to heal, just to process, just to be in that energy. Yes, that's such a big part of our healing journey. And yes, it's something that is a part of getting to the future you. But it's not all of it. The other side of it is really taking the action and getting in the game and creating something and failing and creating something that's super shitty and horrible. And you don't want to show anybody, but showing it anyways, and then learning and growing and then creating something that's a little bit better and then a little bit better and then a little bit better. And that is how we continue to evolve and learn and do it in the experience and really have that experience of yourself in creation mode. And of course, that is so much of the healing process is in the actual creation. So this is all about creating your life. So creating, how do you want your days to look like? How do you want your weeks to look like? How do you want to feel in your interactions with your family, your community? And then what does that look like to expand in bigger and bigger ways? And allowing yourself to dream bigger, to look at what is the future version of myself and start behaving and acting as that version now. So you've probably heard act as if, which is a very known statement in the manifestation world, act as if. And I really take it a step further with the energy work and with the embodiment of it to really be as if and be the person that you're becoming and become that version of you now. And it's with your energy and how your energy is functioning within yourself. It's your mindset, the ways that you're identifying. Are you identifying as a creator? When you think of yourself, how do you think of yourself? Do you think of yourself as somebody that knows nothing about creation, knows nothing about creating and being a creator, and, has no clue what that looks like, what that feels like? Or are you starting to think of yourself as more and more of a creator? Are you learning, what it means to create more? And in whatever realm that means for you, are you starting to learn and then do something every single day, every single week, every single month that would make you more and more a person of creation in that realm so that you can continue to think of yourself in that way, because your beliefs and what you identify with become your behaviors and your actions, and those manifest in your outer world and what ends up happening for you. So I was on my coaching call today, and there were a number of women who were talking about how they wanted to write more, but none of them identified as a writer or an author or called themselves a writer or an author. So, if you're producing music, how do you introduce yourself? How do you talk about yourself? Do you talk about somebody that wants to create music, or is somebody that wants to be a music producer? Or Are you identifying with someone who is creating music, who is producing music, who is learning to produce? So it starts really subtly with those words, those phrases, those thoughts, those ideas. And then who are you hanging out with? What are you doing in your spare time? What are you practicing? What are you playing around with? What type of stuff are you listening to? What rooms are you getting in? What people are you reaching out to on social media? And it just becomes a domino effect. And maybe you start to play some tracks, see what that feels like. And it continues to snowball and snowball and snowball and develop more and more and more. So the key here is to create as much as possible from a regulated place. So like I said, we don't want to get in the trap of only healing, no creating, but we also want to be working on our regulation so that we're creating from a really aligned, regulated place as much as possible. But those two things can happen simultaneously. So you don't have to just be working on your nervous system regulation for years and years and years before you do anything. But to me, the secret sauce is somebody that is regulating their nervous system, is meditating, is doing the inner energy work, and is creating at the same time. And then simultaneously, you're moving forward with both together. There was a time, back in the day when I was really into manifestation. Some of you may have heard my early manifestation stories, but it started because my uncle knew the guy in the secret video, the one who had the picture of his house on his vision board and then found the old vision board in a box when he was unpacking things from his storage and realized that the house on his vision board was the actual house that he moved into. I think it was in San Diego. So my uncle was friends with him and gave me a copy of the book and the video. I forget which came first. Way back in the day. So I got super into manifesting and I was practicing manifesting and I loved manifesting. But at the time, I was doing it from a really unregulated place. And so, yes, I was manifesting a lot of the things and I figured it out and I learned it and I implemented it and I got it to work for me consciously. Like I was really consciously working with it. But what happened, which I'm sure you may have experienced in your life, is when I got the manifestations, it didn't feel good. I had a lot of anxiety. I was really unhappy. I didn't feel fulfilled. I was like, what the hell? Like, I thought this would feel so much cooler, so much better. And that was one of the things that really sparked me and allowed me to have a spiritual awakening. And really, especially in the beginning, got me into Kundalini and was really what put me on this new trajectory of more aligned manifestations, more, conscious manifestations. So that's what I really want for all of us. I want us to be creators. I really want you to step through the future you portal into the next version of yourself, but we want to be doing it regulated as much as possible. And we want to know that we're going to continue to get more regulated, especially those of you who are practicing the Kundalini, doing the work, getting on your mats and doing the practices that really support your mental health, your physical well-being, your nervous system support. I will say, as I've started creating in this new way that is more conscious from the nervous system safety, from embodiment, from my intuition, my life and my business started to not depend on things outside of me to be happy, but I'm able to access just a higher level of happiness as my baseline that isn't dependent on anything else outside of me. And so then I've just continued to grow it and we can continue to expand to have, our inner world match more of our outer world match more of our inner world, and have those things continue to expand. So really this future you concept, the reason I designed this series and this concept, this portal for you and for all of us to step through together is because there is a version of you that is already living the dream life that you're desiring. So really feel into that, really know that concept. There are all these future versions of you. There are all these different options, but it's already here. It's already alive. It's already possible. It's already available, or else you wouldn't be able to have the vision in the first place, the desire in the first place, the thought in the first place. And oftentimes it's these things that you know you want to do and that have a lot of emotion that maybe can bring up the most fear. But when you're able to lean into that fear, turn off the ego, the voice of the fear that wants to suppress and stop you and keep you in the comfort zone, when you can hear that voice and say, I hear you. I understand you're trying to keep me safe, but I'm not going to listen to you. When you can do it anyways, then that's when you start to get on a new timeline. So the truth is that you do not become her, and you do not become the future version of you by thinking harder, by trying to figure it out in your mind and thinking about it for more and more days and weeks and months and years. That is not how it will manifest. The way that it manifests, you become her first in your body, in your nervous system, in your thoughts, your identity, your beliefs, and what you're creating, what you're interacting with. And this starts with your daily creation, your morning ritual, your daily routines, and what you're consuming and what you're creating every single day. So I see creation really as the bridge between the timelines. So if I'm like, okay, I'm over here, I have a vision, I know I want to be over here, the bridge is in the creation. So it's in starting the creation process. And then you get information, feedback from the universe, from your outer world. And then you're able to tweak and refine and let go of anything, rearrange anything, restructure anything, create more, continue to get feedback, and you just are in then the refinement process, right? So I have a quick embodiment practice for you and something that you can take with you to integrate, and then definitely come back for the next episode. But really, what I want you to leave with is it's time to stop waiting, stop over consuming more than you're creating, over preparing, holding yourself back from expressing imperfectly, and really getting in this mode of being a teacher in a bigger way, being, a healer in a bigger way, a light worker in a better way, a bigger way. This means sharing more, teaching more, building, offering, leading, and you can start small. You can start in whatever ways you're called right now. Maybe it's just being more of a leader with your family, with your kids, with your friends in your community, or maybe it's on really large scales. I have clients that are leading, country to country and going to Singapore next week and leading like huge, big initiatives and starting to bring more spiritual aspects into those realms. It's looking at where you're at now, how you're creating now, and what the next version and level of that dream and of creating means for you. So I want to offer you an embodiment practice. It's really quick. I want you to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and just relax. If you're sitting, you can put your feet on the floor. If you're driving or, listening to this on a walk, you can just kind of feel into this and always come back to it later, but you can definitely do it. And I want you to just start to breathe a little bit more slowly than your natural breath. So I want you to breathe in through your nose, expand your belly out, exhale through the nose, pulling the belly in. And I want you to say silently or out loud, I am safe to be seen. I am safe to express. It is safe to create. And I am safe to be a channel for my soul's creation. And I want you to feel into any sensations in your body. I want you to feel your body respond to that truth. really connecting to the future you portal. And then I want you to just ask yourself today, where in my life have I been waiting instead of creating? Normally it's your first response, your first intuition, the first thing that you think of. Where in my life have I been waiting instead of creating? Because part of me still believes that I'm not quite ready yet. And you can journal on that later if you want. But like I said, like what comes to mind first, maybe type that in your notes app. Would love for you to comment it below as you're watching or DM me on Instagram. And then the next question here is, what would my future self be creating right now if she trusted herself fully? So really feel into that. What is that? Listen to your intuition. Listen to that first gut, that first initial intuitive response. Okay. So I'm so excited to dive into this deeper. I hope this was really helpful for you. I hope it sparked something, initiated something. My intention with this episode is for Source to speak through me, to hit something, to activate something within you that is unique for you. So really pay attention to thoughts, ideas, something that came up for you, maybe a feeling that you had, maybe something that ignited into you, or an idea that came through, or something that was a realization that you weren't so consciously aware of before. Really pay attention to that. Feel free to take notes back to this episode. But in the next episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper into this by actually meeting the future you, your future you. So not as a concept, not as a fantasy, not something that's outside of you, that's like really far away, but as a real energetic identity right now that already exists in your field, in your realm, in your aura of possibility. And we'll explore how to embody her right now, how to regulate your nervous system to really hold her life, hold her energy, and to begin living as her now, and really step into this initiation into and through this future you portal, versus this being something that is so in the future that you're like constantly striving and waiting and feeling like you're never actually manifesting it. So bringing it here, bringing it now into your present reality. And I'm so excited to dive deeper into this. So comment below, let me know what came up for you. Come back for the next episode. And I have so many more things to come into. The topics and the different episodes and the different realms and parts of this that we're going into is absolutely next level, and is really going to activate faster timelines for yourself, quantum leaping, and really accelerating your pathway forward. So come back for the next episode. Sending you so much love. Would love for you to share this and tag me and let me know what your favorite takeaway was from this episode. Thank you again. I'll see you soon, and sending you so much love. Thank you for stepping through the portal with me today. If you loved this episode, I would so appreciate you leaving a review and email it to podcast@intunebybritt.com to grab my free spiritual CEO guide, ChatGPT prompts for content and daily schedules and checklists, and my morning ritual checklist to help you to stay aligned and in flow. Come back for the next episode and let's keep rising, expanding, and flowing together through the portal. Sat Nam, lots of love.